Maya Chen pressed her face against the observation deck window and watched 3 suns rise over Nexus Prime. The view still amazed her after 6 months at the Galactic Council Academy. Purple mountains stretched toward a golden sky, while silver towers reached up like fingers trying to touch the stars. She was 16 years old and very far from home, still gawking at the pretty lights. Human? Maya turned around. Crystal stood behind her, his crystal body catching the morning light. He was from the Crystalline Consortium, one of the oldest species in the galaxy. His people had been traveling between stars when humans were still learning to make fire, just watching the sunrise, Maya said. She had learned not to react to his tone. Most students here treated her like she was stupid or dangerous, sometimes both. Your kind finds the simplest things fascinating, Crystal said. His voice sounded like breaking glass. I suppose when you come from such a primitive world, everything seems magical. Maya picked up her research pad and walked past him. She had work to do. The biology lab was Maya's favorite place in the academy. Here, surrounded by specimens from 1,000 worlds, she could forget about the whispers and stares. She could focus on what she loved most, learning how life worked across the galaxy. Professor Yilmoth was already working when she arrived. The old ethereal floated above his desk, his body like smoke given form. He was one of the few teachers who treated Maya with respect. Ah, Maya, he said. His voice echoed like wind in a cave. Ready to continue your research? Yes, sir. Maya set up her equipment. For the past 3 months, she had been studying something amazing. She had found tiny organisms that could help plants grow in terrible conditions. With these creatures, farmers could grow food on dead worlds. Your work progresses well, Professor Yilmoth said. These symbiotic organisms could change everything. Worlds that cannot grow food could feed billions. Maya smiled. This was why she had come so far from Earth. She wanted to help people, all people, from every world. But she did not know that someone was watching her work very carefully. Archon Zeph stood in his private office high above the academy. His red eyes watched Maya through hidden cameras. The Vorthak leader was very old even by the standards of his ancient race. He had ruled for 3,000 years. The human girl's research troubles me, he said to his aide. She is just a child, the aide replied. What harm can she do? Zephai's scaled face twisted into what might have been a smile. You underestimate the danger, Crexville. This child's work could destroy the agricultural cartels that have served us for millennia. Do you know what happens when food becomes cheap and easy to grow? No, Archon. Power shifts. The hierarchy loses control. Younger species become independent. Zephai's claws clicked against his desk. We cannot allow this. The aide shifted nervously. What do you propose? The girl must be stopped, but carefully. If we simply kill her, the humans might ask questions. We need a reason, a crime that justifies punishment. What crime could she have committed? Zephai's smile grew wider. She will commit one soon enough. I will make sure of it. Maya worked late into the night. The lab was quiet except for the hum of machines and the soft bubbling of culture tanks. She was so focused on her research that she did not hear the footsteps behind her. Working hard, I see. Maya jumped and turned around. A figure in maintenance. Clothes stood near her workstation. She could not see his face clearly in the dim light. I'm sorry, Maya said. I know it's late. I can finish this tomorrow. No need to stop, the figure said. He moved closer to her samples. Such important work should not be delayed. Something felt wrong. Maya stepped between the stranger and her research. Who are you? You're not supposed to be in here. The figure laughed softly. Just someone who appreciates good science. He reached for one of her sample containers. Don't touch that. Maya grabbed for the container, but the figure was faster. He pulled out a small device and pointed it at her samples. What are you doing? Maya demanded. Improving your work, the figure said. The device hummed and glowed. Maya's carefully prepared organisms began to change. She watched in horror as her helpful symbiotes twisted into something else entirely. "Stop! You're ruining everything!" But it was too late. The figure finished his work and stepped back. "There. Much better. Your research will be famous now, little human. More famous than you ever wanted." He walked away, leaving Maya alone with her transformed samples. She ran to her microscope and looked at what remained of her work. The organisms that had once helped plants grow now ate them instead. Worse, they were designed to spread quickly and resist all attempts to stop them. Someone had turned her research into a weapon. The next morning, security forces surrounded the academy. Maya stood in the central plaza with hundreds of other students, all watching as armored soldiers searched every building. "Attention all residents," a voice boomed across the plaza. "We have discovered evidence of biological terrorism. The perpetrator will be found and punished." Maya felt cold despite the warm morning air. She knew what they would find in the lab. She knew who they would blame. Commander Veltar of the Council Guard approached her. His massive form cast a shadow over her small, human frame. "Maya Chen of Earth, you are under arrest for crimes against galactic security." "I didn't do anything wrong," Maya said. Her voice sounded small and scared. "Your research samples contain weaponized organisms designed to destroy agricultural systems," Veltar said. "Do you deny creating these weapons?" "Someone changed my work. I was trying to help farmers, not hurt them." "A convenient story," Veltar said. He nodded to his soldiers. "Take her away." As they led her toward the detention center, Maya saw other students watching. Some looked shocked, others looked satisfied. None of them tried to help her. The holding cell was small and cold. Maya sat on the narrow bunk and tried to understand what had happened. Someone had set her up, but who? And why? The answer came the next day when Archon HFY visited her cell. "Young human," he said, his red eyes gleaming in the dim light. "You have caused quite a disturbance." "I'm innocent," Maya said. "Someone sabotaged my research." "Perhaps. But innocence is a luxury few can afford. Your work threatened important interests. Did you think the galaxy would simply allow you to upset the natural order?" Maya stared at him. "Natural order? I was trying to help people eat. And in doing so, you would have destroyed carefully maintained systems of control. The agricultural cartels serve a purpose, child. They keep younger species dependent and manageable. Your research would have changed that. So you framed me." HFY's smile was cold and cruel. "I protected galactic stability. Your people will understand in time. One life is a small price to pay for cosmic peace." Maya felt her heart break. She had come here believing in cooperation between species. She had wanted to make the galaxy better. Instead, she had learned that the powerful would do anything to stay powerful. "My death won't stop progress forever," she said quietly. "Perhaps not," HFY admitted, "but it will delay it long enough, and it will serve as a lesson to other ambitious young species. Some lines should not be crossed." He left her alone in the cell. Maya lay down on the cold bunk and closed her eyes. Tomorrow would bring her trial. She already knew how it would end. But she hoped her death would not be meaningless. She hoped Earth would remember her and learn from her fate. She hoped they would understand that the galaxy was not the peaceful place they had imagined. Most of all, she hoped they would not let her sacrifice be in vain. The trial chamber was enormous. Thousands of seats rose in circles around a central platform where Maya stood in chains. Representatives from hundreds of worlds had come to watch. She had never felt so small. Above her, 3 archons sat on floating thrones. HFY was in the center, his red eyes fixed on her with satisfaction. To his left sat crystalline Prime Velshen, her crystal body refracting the chamber's lights into rainbow patterns. On the right floated ethereal Overmind Nixara, barely visible except for the soft glow that marked her presence. "Maya Chen of Earth," HFY's voice boomed through the chamber. "You stand accused of creating biological weapons designed to destroy agricultural systems across the galaxy. How do you answer these charges?" Maya lifted her head. Her voice was steady despite her fear. "I am innocent. My research was meant to help people, not harm them. A wave of laughter rippled through the audience. Maya felt her cheeks burn with shame and anger. The evidence suggests otherwise, said Velshin. Her voice was like crystal chimes. Your laboratory contained weaponized organisms that could devastate entire worlds. Someone sabotaged my work, Maya said. I never created weapons. A convenient claim, Nixara whispered. Her words seemed to come from everywhere at once. But the organisms bear your genetic markers. They came from your hands alone. Maya's heart sank. Of course they had covered their tracks perfectly. The frame job was complete. Her defender stood up. Advocate Thilson was supposed to represent Earth's interests, but Maya could see he was nervous. His green skin had turned pale, and his hands shook as he held his notes. Honorable Archons, Thilson said. My client is young and inexperienced. Perhaps this was simply an accident caused by poor laboratory procedures. Maya stared at him in shock. Even her own defender was not claiming she was innocent. Are you saying your client is incompetent rather than malicious? HFY asked. Yes, Archon. Incompetent. Not evil. I see. HFY made notes on his datapad. So you agree she created the weapons, but claim it was due to stupidity rather than intent. That is correct, Archon. Maya wanted to scream. This was not a defense at all. Thilson was helping the prosecution by agreeing she had created biological weapons. I object, Maya shouted. This is not what happened. The accused will remain silent, Velshin commanded. You have forfeited your right to speak by interrupting these proceedings. But this is not fair. Guards moved toward her. Maya fell silent, but inside she was burning with rage and despair. The prosecution presented its evidence. Video recordings showed Maya working with the organisms that had been found in her lab. Computer records proved she had been researching ways to make them spread faster. Scientific analysis confirmed they bore her genetic signature. It was all lies built on a foundation of truth. Yes, she had worked with those organisms. Yes, she had tried to make them spread to help more plants. But she had never created weapons. Nobody cared about the truth. Ambassador Sarah Kim sat in the diplomatic section, her face pale with grief and anger. She had raised Maya like her own daughter after the girl's parents died in a transport accident. She had been so proud when Maya was accepted to the academy. Now she watched helplessly as her child was destroyed by a system designed to crush anyone who threatened the established order. Honorable Archons, Sarah said, standing up. I request permission to speak on behalf of Earth. The diplomatic gallery may observe but not participate, HFY said without looking at her. This is a farce. That child is innocent. Remove the disruptive diplomat, HFY ordered. Guards moved toward Sarah. She stood her ground for a moment, staring at Maya with tears in her eyes. Then she allowed herself to be escorted out. Maya was alone. The trial continued for 3 days. Witness after witness testified about the danger of biological weapons. Expert after expert explained how Maya's organisms could destroy entire ecosystems. Nobody spoke in her defense except the useless Thilson, who kept apologizing for his client's mistakes. On the final day, HFY stood to deliver the verdict. Maya Chen of Earth, this tribunal finds you guilty of creating biological weapons with intent to commit genocide. The evidence is overwhelming. Your own defender admits your guilt. Maya closed her eyes. She had known this moment would come, but it still felt like a physical blow. However, HFY continued, this tribunal recognizes your youth and the primitive nature of your species. We believe you were manipulated by others who wished to use your weapons for their own purposes. Maya looked up, confused. Was he going to show mercy? Therefore, we sentence you not to death but to neural dissolution. Your consciousness will be destroyed, but your body will live on as a warning to others who might follow your path. The chamber erupted in cheers and applause. Maya felt the world spinning around her. Neural dissolution was worse than death. They would erase everything that made her who she was while keeping her body alive like an empty shell. Please, she whispered. Just kill me. The sentence is final, HFY said. He looked directly at her, and she saw the satisfaction in his ancient eyes. The procedure will be broadcast across council space, so all may learn from your fate. They dragged her from the chamber as the crowd celebrated. Maya barely heard them, over the rushing in her ears. She was going to disappear piece by piece while the galaxy watched. The neural dissolution chamber was a sphere of black metal covered in wires and sensors. Maya was strapped to a chair in the center while technicians prepared their equipment. The process will take 3 days, the chief technician explained to the cameras that would broadcast her destruction. We will systematically remove each layer of consciousness while keeping the subject alive and aware. First memory, then personality, then basic cognitive function. At the end, only the brainstem will remain active. Maya tried to be brave, but she was 16 years old and more scared than she had ever been in her life. Any last words? HFY asked. He had come to watch personally. Maya looked directly into the main camera. She knew people across the galaxy would see this. She hoped her message would reach the right ears. Tell my parents I was trying to help everyone, she said. Her voice was surprisingly steady. And tell Earth, the council is not what we thought it was. They killed me for wanting to feed hungry people. Remember that. HFY nodded to the technicians. Begin the procedure. The first day was the worst. They started with her recent memories, pulling them out one by one like pages torn from a book. Maya screamed as her time at the academy disappeared. Her research, her friendships, her hopes for the future, all gone. The second day they took her childhood. Her parents' faces faded away. Her first day of school, her favorite foods, the cat she had loved when she was 8. Everything that made her smile was stolen from her. On the third day, they began erasing her personality. Her curiosity, her kindness, her determination to help others. All the things that made her Maya instead of just another human girl. By the end, only her basic motor functions remained. Maya Chen still breathed and her heart still beat, but Maya Chen no longer existed. The empty shell that had once been a brilliant young scientist was taken away to a medical facility, where it would be kept alive indefinitely as a living reminder of council justice. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, billions of beings had watched a child's mind be destroyed for the crime of wanting to help others. Most of them felt the council had been merciful. But in the Sol system, 13 billion humans had seen something very different. They had watched an innocent girl be tortured to death for threatening alien prophets, and they were not feeling merciful at all. Earth's government immediately demanded justice. Ambassador Kim returned to Earth and reported everything she had seen. The president addressed the United Earth Assembly with tears in her eyes. They murdered a child, she said. They destroyed the mind of a 16-year-old girl whose only crime was wanting to feed hungry people, and they broadcast it across the galaxy as entertainment. The Assembly voted unanimously to withdraw from the Galactic Council and demand the extradition of those responsible for Maya's death. The Council's response was swift and dismissive. Trade sanctions were imposed on Earth. A Council fleet took position at the edge of the Sol system to maintain order.
HFY sent a message to Earth's leaders. Your species will learn to accept its proper place in the galactic order. The girl's fate was unfortunate but necessary. Do not test our patience further. The message was broadcast on every human world.
And station. The reaction was not what the Council expected. Earth went silent. 6 weeks after Maya's neural dissolution, Council diplomatic liaison Kex Mora tried to contact Earth for the 14th time that day. The response was the same as always. Silence. Still nothing, sir, his aide reported. No answer from any human colony, station, or ship. Kex Mora frowned, his blue skin darkened with worry. This is highly unusual. Even angry species maintain minimal diplomatic contact. Perhaps they are finally accepting their place, suggested his aide. But Kex Mora was not so sure. In his 3 centuries of diplomatic service, he had never seen an entire species simply vanish from galactic communication. Across council space, human ships disappeared from trade routes. Human merchants stopped arriving at alien ports. Human colonies that had been trading partners for decades simply stopped answering messages. It was as if humanity had decided the rest of the galaxy no longer existed. In the Sol system, something unprecedented was happening. Every human world, every station, every ship was working toward a single goal. The death of Maya Chen had done what centuries of politics could not. It had united humanity completely. Admiral Elena Vasquez stood in the command center of Luna Base, watching reports flow in from across human space. She was now supreme commander of all human forces, civilian and military alike. The old divisions between nations and colonies had been swept away in the wave of rage that followed Maya's execution. "Status report," she said. "New Sydney has completed. Their dark matter research facility," reported her aide. "The breakthrough came yesterday. They can now weaponize dark matter particles." "Mars Colony? Their quantum tunneling project succeeded. We can now move ships instantly across any distance." "Titan Station? Faster-than-light communication is fully operational. Every human world can coordinate simultaneously." Vasquez nodded. Each report brought humanity closer to readiness. The Council thought they were hiding in shame, but they were actually becoming something the galaxy had never seen before. "How much longer?" she asked Dr. Sarah Chen, Maya's aunt and the head of the Revenge project that bore her niece's name. 6 more months, Sarah said. Her eyes burned with cold fury. 6 months and we will be ready to teach the galaxy what happens when you murder our children. The transformation of humanity was beyond anything the Council could have imagined. The death of one innocent girl had triggered a species-wide revolution in technology and purpose. On Earth, every university was working on weapons research. On Mars, factories ran day and night building ships with impossible capabilities. On the mining stations of the outer system, workers extracted rare materials for projects they did not fully understand, but supported completely. They all knew one thing: Maya Chen had died for trying to help others, and the creatures responsible would pay for it. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. James Wright was a theoretical physicist who had spent years studying dark matter. Before Maya's death, his work had been considered interesting but impractical. Now it was the most important research in human space. The key is resonance frequency, he explained to a gathering of scientists from across the colonies. Dark matter exists everywhere, but it usually does not interact with normal matter. However, if we generate the right frequency, we can make it destructive. How destructive? Asked Dr. Chen Wright's face was grim. We could erase entire star systems, not just destroy them, make them disappear completely as if they had never existed. The room fell silent. This was power beyond imagination. The Council thinks they are dealing with primitive humans, Wright continued. They have no idea what grief and rage can accomplish when an entire species focuses on a single goal. Meanwhile, the Council was growing concerned about humanity's silence. Trade routes that depended on human participation were failing. Several species that relied on human goods were beginning to suffer economically. Archon Zephai called a meeting of the Inner Council. The humans have been silent for over 4 months, he said. This is longer than any previous disciplinary period. Perhaps they are finally learning their place, suggested Velshin. But Nixara, the ethereal overmind, was not convinced. Her species had psychic abilities that let them sense emotions across vast distances. I feel something strange from their space, she said. Not defeat or submission. Something else, something focused and terrible. Nonsense, Zephai said. They are a young species. What could they possibly do to threaten the Council? It was exactly the kind of arrogance that had led to Maya's death in the first place. On the first anniversary of Maya's neural dissolution, humanity was ready. Admiral Vasquez stood before a gathering of representatives from every human world. The meeting was taking place simultaneously across all colonies through the new faster-than-light communication network. Today marks 1 year since they took Maya Chen from us, she began. They did not just kill a girl, they killed what she represented. Hope, curiosity, the belief that different species could work together for everyone's benefit. The audience listened in absolute silence. Maya wanted to feed hungry people. They destroyed her mind for it and broadcast her torture as entertainment. They told us this was justice. They told us to accept our place. Vasquez paused and looked directly into the cameras that were recording this moment for history. We have spent this year learning what our place really is. Our place is not kneeling before creatures who murder children. Our place is standing up for what Maya believed in. Our place is making sure nothing like this ever happens again. She nodded to Dr. Chen, who activated a holographic display showing the galaxy. Every human ship, every human weapon, every human heart is now focused on one goal: justice for Maya Chen. Not revenge. Justice. There is a difference. The display highlighted 3 regions of space: the home systems of the Vorthak Dominion, the Crystalline Consortium, and the Ethereal Collective. These 3 species made the decision to kill our daughter. They will face the consequences of that choice. As for the rest of the Council, the display showed hundreds of other systems. You will learn that some crimes are too great to forgive. Some injustices require a complete change in how the galaxy works. Dr. Wright stepped forward and activated another display, this one showing the new human fleet. The ships were unlike anything that had existed before. Sleek, dark vessels that seemed to bend light around them. We call them Maya's fleet, he said. Each ship is armed with dark matter weapons that can reach any target instantly across any distance. Each ship can destroy entire star systems or make them disappear completely. The implications hit the audience immediately. Humanity had not just built better weapons. They had created the ability to erase civilizations from existence itself. The Council thinks they rule the galaxy because they have more ships and older technology. Vasquez continued. They are about to learn that numbers mean nothing when your enemy can remove your entire species from reality. She looked directly at the camera again. Maya Chen wanted to help everyone in the galaxy live better lives. The Council killed her for it. Tomorrow we begin teaching them why that was a mistake. The transmission ended, but its effects rippled across human space immediately. Every human fleet commander received their orders. Every human colony prepared for what was coming. Every human citizen understood that their species was about to change the galaxy forever. The age of Council dominance was ending. The age of justice for Maya Chen was about to begin. In the Vorthak home system, Archon's HFY received reports of strange energy signatures at the edge of their space. Ships unlike anything in the Council database had appeared without warning. What are those vessels? He demanded. Unknown, Archon, his intelligence chief replied. They do not match any known design. Send a patrol to investigate. We have, Archon. The patrol ships disappeared. HFY's blood ran cold. What do you mean, disappeared? They were there one moment, then gone the next. No explosion, no debris, no distress signal. They simply stopped existing. For the first time in 3,000 years of life, Archon, HFY felt afraid. The humans had been silent for a year. Now they were speaking in a language the galaxy had never heard before, the language of absolute power wielded in service of absolute justice, and they were just getting started. The first sign that everything had changed came at exactly noon, Council Standard Time, on the anniversary of Maya's death. Every communication device in Council space activated simultaneously. Billions of beings across thousands of worlds suddenly found themselves watching the same broadcast. The image showed a young human girl working in a laboratory, carefully tending to tiny organisms that glowed with gentle light. Her face was bright with hope and curiosity as she explained her research to someone off camera. My name is Maya Chen, her recorded voice said. I'm 16 years old, and I want to help feed hungry people all across the galaxy. The recording showed her work in detail, how the organisms she had discovered could help plants grow in the harshest conditions, how they could turn dead worlds into gardens, how they could end starvation for billions of beings. Then the recording changed. It showed Maya's arrest, her sham trial, and finally her neural dissolution. The galaxy watched as an innocent girl's mind was slowly, methodically destroyed while she begged for mercy that never came. When the torture finally ended, the screen went black. Then a new voice spoke. Admiral Vasquez, though few in the council knew her name yet. This was Maya Chen. She wanted to help you. You killed her for it. A new image appeared. The empty shell that had once been Maya, kept alive in a council medical facility as a warning to others. You broadcast her murder as entertainment. You called it justice. You told her people to accept their proper place in your order. The image changed again, showing the massive human fleet that now surrounded dozens of council worlds. We have learned our proper place. Our place is making sure this never happens again. The transmission ended with a simple message that appeared in every language spoken in council space. You have 72 hours to surrender those responsible for Maya Chen's death. This is not a negotiation. Panic spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In the emergency session of the Galactic Council, chaos reigned. Representatives from 800 species all spoke at once, demanding answers, making accusations, and preparing for war. How did they broadcast to every world simultaneously? Shouted Ambassador Clorix of the Tentacled Confederation. Where did this fleet come from? Demanded Envoy Selth of the Scaled Republic. Are those ships even possible? Asked Elder Vorthak of the Northern Hegemony. At the center of the chaos sat the three Archons who had ordered Maya's death. For the first time in their long lives, they looked uncertain. It's obviously a bluff, HFY said, but his voice lacked its usual confidence. No species develops this kind of technology in just 1 year. The energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases, Velshun reported. Her crystal body was flashing rapid colors, a sign of severe stress among her people. These ships appear to violate several laws of physics. Nixara, the ethereal overmind, was even more disturbed. I can sense their emotions, she whispered. All of them, across their entire fleet. They feel no doubt, no fear, no mercy. Only absolute certainty that what they are doing is right. How many ships? Asked HFY. We're still counting, replied the intelligence chief. They appeared simultaneously around every major council world. Current estimates suggest at least 50,000 vessels, possibly more. The number sent a chill through the chamber. Even the combined council fleets numbered only 30,000 ships. Mobilize everything, HFY ordered. Every ship, every weapon, every defense platform. If these humans want a war, we'll give them one they'll never forget. But some in the chamber were not so eager for conflict. Perhaps we should consider their demands, said Ambassador Yilset of the Peaceful Collective. If we surrender those responsible for the girl's death. Absolutely not, HFY's roar echoed through the chamber. We do not negotiate with terrorists. The Council does not bow to threats. Even when those threats come from weapons that can apparently violate the laws of physics, Yilset asked quietly. Especially then. HFY stood, his massive form dominating the chamber. If we show weakness now, every young species will think they can challenge us. The order we have maintained for millions of years will collapse. What HFY didn't understand was that the order had already collapsed. It had died with Maya Chen in a neural dissolution chamber, broadcast across the galaxy for entertainment. The Council fleet began mobilizing immediately. Millions of ships converged on strategic positions throughout Council space. It was the largest military deployment in galactic history. Admiral Krasoval of the Council Defense Force commanded the operation from his flagship above Nexus Prime. His species, the warrior caste, had never lost a major battle in 50,000 years of warfare. Unknown vessels, he broadcast to the human fleet. You are in violation of Council space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. The human response was immediate and devastating. A single human ship, no larger than a Council destroyer, moved toward Krasoval's formation. The Admiral ordered his entire battle group to open fire. Over 300 ships unleashing their weapons simultaneously. Their energy beams and missiles simply passed through the human vessel, as if it wasn't there. What kind of shielding is that? Krasoval demanded. It's not shielding, sir, his science officer reported with a trembling voice. The ship appears to be phasing in and out of normal spacetime. The human ship stopped directly in front of Krasvol's flagship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the human vessel fired a single small beam of dark energy. The Council flagship didn't explode. It didn't break apart. It simply ceased to exist, taking Admiral Krasvol and his crew of 10,000 with it. Where the massive warship had been, there was now only empty space. The remaining Council ships opened fire in panic, but their weapons had no effect. One by one, the human ship erased them from existence. The entire battle group, 300 vessels and nearly 1 million crew members, was gone in less than 5 minutes. The human ship then broadcast a message: 71 hours and 55 minutes remaining. News of the battle spread across Council space instantly. The implications were terrifying. Humanity had developed weapons that could bypass every known defense and erase matter from reality itself. But the Council's leaders refused to surrender. It was a fluke, HFY insisted. One small engagement means nothing. We have millions of ships. And they have weapons that can apparently delete matter from existence, pointed out Velshin. Then we'll overwhelm them with numbers, HFY snarled. Mass every fleet in the galaxy. Even gods can be brought down if you hit them hard enough. The Council's entire military might began converging on human positions. From every corner of the galaxy, warships raced toward what everyone knew would be the most important battle in galactic history. The humans waited patiently. As the deadline approached, Council forces had assembled the largest fleet ever seen, over 2 million ships from 800 different species. They surrounded human positions with overwhelming numerical superiority. This is your final warning, broadcast Fleet Admiral Thexmore, commanding the Council forces. Surrender now, or be destroyed. The human response came from Admiral Vasquez herself. Maya Chen wanted to help everyone in the galaxy. You tortured a child to death for wanting to feed hungry people. There will be no surrender. There will only be justice. The battle began, at exactly 72 hours after the human ultimatum. 2 million Council ships opened fire simultaneously, creating the largest weapons barrage in recorded history. Space itself seemed to burn as energy beams, missiles, and exotic weapons filled the void between the fleets. The human ships didn't even try to dodge. The massive barrage struck the human fleet and passed right through it harmlessly. Every human vessel remained untouched, as if the weapons were firing at ghosts. Then the humans returned fire. Dark beams of energy reached out from the human fleet, each one targeting a different Council ship. Wherever the dark energy touched, matter simply disappeared. Entire battleships, some the size of cities, were erased from reality, without leaving so much as a particle of dust behind. The Council fleet fought desperately, but they might as well have been firing at shadows. Their weapons could not touch the human ships, but the human weapons deleted everything they hit from existence. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it ended, 2 million Council ships had been reduced to empty space, not destroyed, erased, as if they had never existed at all. The silence that followed was deafening. Admiral Vasquez broadcast a message to the surviving Council forces scattered across the galaxy. Maya Chen is dead because of you. Your choice was to surrender those responsible. You chose war instead. Now you will learn what war with humanity actually means. This is not war, she continued. This is justice. Maya wanted to help everyone. You killed her for it. Now everyone will see what happens when you murder our children. The message ended with coordinates, the home systems of the 3 species responsible for Maya's death. 72 hours, Vasquez said. That's how long you had to do the right thing. You chose not to. Now we do what's right our way. In the Vorthak home system, Archon HFY watched his defenses crumble as human ships appeared around his world. His people had ruled for 100,000 years, commanding fear and respect across the galaxy. Now they cowered in bunkers as impossible weapons prepared to erase them from existence. The erasure began with the Vorthak Dominion. Admiral Vasquez stood in the command center of her flagship, watching as human vessels surrounded every Vorthak world, station, and outpost across 53 star systems. Her face showed no emotion, as she gave the order that would change galactic history forever. Begin Maya's protocol, she said quietly. Across space, human ships fired their dark matter weapons simultaneously, but these were not the quick erasure beams used in battle. These were something far more terrible, sustained streams of dark energy that didn't just destroy matter but removed it completely from reality. The Vorthak homeworld of Krexhai was the first to disappear. One moment it was there, a massive planet that had been the center of an empire for 100,000 years. The next moment, there was nothing. Not debris, not dust, not even the gravitational signature that should have remained. It was as if the planet had never existed. The process continued methodically. Every Vorthak colony, every space station, every ship hiding in the outer darkness, all of them were touched by the dark energy and simply ceased to be. The humans were not just destroying the Vorthak civilization, they were erasing it from existence itself. In the Council Emergency Chamber, representatives watched in horror as sensor readings from Vorthak space went blank one by one. 53 star systems, whispered the intelligence chief. All gone. No trace remains. How is this possible? Demanded Ambassador Clorix. You cannot simply erase matter from the universe. Dr. Sarah Chen answered him from the human fleet, broadcast that was being received across the galaxy. We learned how to manipulate dark matter, she said. Dark matter makes up most of the universe, but it usually doesn't interact with normal matter. We found a way to change that. When dark matter is properly excited, she continued, it doesn't destroy normal matter. It removes it from the quantum field that defines existence. The matter doesn't explode or break apart. It simply stops being real. The scientific implications were staggering, but the practical implications were worse. Humanity had developed the power to erase anything they chose from reality itself. Why? Asked Elder Motion of the Gentle Republic. Why go this far? Sarah's answer was simple. They tortured a 16-year-old girl to death for wanting to help people. They broadcast it for entertainment. They told us to accept our place. This is our place, making sure nothing like Maya's murder ever happens again. The erasure of the Vorthak took 6 hours. A civilization that had existed for millennia simply vanished, leaving behind only empty space where their worlds had been. But the humans were not finished. Next came the crystalline consortium, Prime. Belchen had retreated to the deepest core world of her people, surrounded by defensive systems built over millions of years. Crystal beings lived for vast spans of time and thought in terms of geological ages. They believed they could outlast any threat. They were wrong. The human fleet arrived without warning, their ships materializing directly inside the consortium's most secure systems. The crystalline defense networks opened fire, their energy weapons creating beautiful but deadly light shows across the void. None of it mattered. The human ships phased through the attacks as if they were made of light themselves. Then began the systematic erasure of everything the consortium had built. Unlike the Vorthak, the crystalline beings tried to communicate with their destroyers. We acted according to law, Prime Veltion broadcast desperately. The girl was found guilty by proper trial. Admiral Vasquez personally responded to that plea. Maya Chen was 16 years old. She wanted to help hungry people eat. You destroyed her mind piece by piece over 3 days and broadcast it as entertainment. Did you think there would be no consequences? We can make amends, Velshen pleaded. We can compensate Earth for the loss. Compensate. Vasquez's voice was colder than the space between stars. You think money can replace Maya? You think anything can undo what you did to her? The dark energy beams reached out toward the consortium. Worlds. Maya Chen is gone forever because of you. Now you learn what forever really means. The crystalline consortium had 68 systems spread across their domain. The humans erased them all in 4 hours. Beings who had lived for millions of years simply stopped existing, along with their crystal cities, their ancient knowledge, and their beautiful art. When it was over, there was no trace that the consortium had ever existed. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as the third target appeared on human sensors, the Ethereal Collective. The ethereal beings were different from the others. They existed partially in normal space and partially in dimensions beyond physical reality. Many thought this would protect them from the human weapons. They were wrong too. Overmind Nyxera tried one last desperate gambit. Using her species' psychic abilities, she broadcast a plea to every mind in human space. Please, her mental voice, reached across the void. We understand your grief. We feel your pain. The girl's death was tragic, but genocide is not justice. The response came not from Admiral Vasquez, but from the collective consciousness of humanity itself. 13 billion human minds spoke as one. You felt our pain when you ordered Maya's torture? You understood our grief when you destroyed her mind for entertainment? You called her death tragic while you were the ones who caused it? The psychic pressure of 13 billion angry minds hit the ethereal collective like a tsunami. Beings who had existed as pure thought for eons found themselves overwhelmed by human emotion. Maya wanted to help everyone. The human collective continued. She believed different species could work together. You killed that dream when you killed her. Now you face the nightmare you created. The human fleet moved into ethereal space. But these beings had no physical worlds to target. They existed as energy patterns distributed across vast regions of space. So the humans adapted their weapons. Instead of erasing matter, they began erasing energy patterns. The dark matter beams touched the quantum fields where the ethereal beings existed, and those beings simply stopped. Not dead, not destroyed. They simply ceased to be conscious, ceased to exist as individual entities. The ethereal collective, which had existed for 2 million years as a merger of countless minds, was reduced to empty quantum foam in 37 minutes. When the erasure was complete, the 3 species responsible for Maya's death no longer existed. Not just their governments or their militaries, the entire species were gone. No survivors, no refugees, no remains. They had been completely removed from reality. The galaxy fell silent. In the council chamber, the remaining representatives sat in shock. 3 of the oldest, most powerful civilizations in the galaxy had been erased in less than a day. What do they want? Whispered Ambassador Tresk of the Hive Confederation. The answer came in another broadcast from Admiral Vasquez. We want to make sure this never happens again, she said. Maya Chen wanted to create a galaxy where everyone could live better lives. You killed her for threatening your profits and your power. A new image appeared. The empty shell that had once been Maya, still kept alive in a medical facility as a warning to others. This is what you called justice, a child's mind destroyed for wanting to help people. We call it murder. The image changed to show the human fleet, now positioning itself around every major council world. We are going to create the galaxy Maya wanted, Vasquez continued, a place where scientific research is rewarded, not punished, where young species are helped, not exploited, where no child ever again dies for wanting to make others' lives better. You can be part of that galaxy, or you can join the Vorthak, the consortium, and the collective in non-existence. The choice is yours. The terms humanity offered were simple and non-negotiable. Complete transparency in all council proceedings, an end to the exploitation of younger species, protection for scientific research and researchers, and most importantly, the establishment of Maya's protocols, laws ensuring that no being would ever again be punished for trying to help others. Most council species accepted immediately. They had seen what happened to those who opposed humanity's vision of justice. But some tried to resist. The Merchant Alliance attempted to organize economic warfare against human colonies. They discovered that human ships could appear instantly in their core systems and erase their trade centers from existence. The military caste tried to build new weapons that could penetrate human defenses. They found their research facilities simply vanishing whenever they made progress. The corporate federation attempted to hire mercenaries to strike at human targets. The mercenaries and everyone who hired them ceased to exist within hours. Within 6 months, every species in the galaxy had accepted Maya's protocols. There was no choice: comply or face complete erasure from reality. But something unexpected happened. As the new laws took effect, as transparency replaced corruption and cooperation replaced exploitation, The galaxy began to flourish in ways it never had before. Young species that had been kept dependent suddenly found themselves free to develop their full potential. Scientific research exploded as researchers no longer feared punishment for their discoveries. Trade became fairer as the old monopolies were broken. The galaxy Maya had dreamed of, one where everyone could live better lives, was becoming real. 10 years later, Admiral Vasquez stood in the memorial hall on Maya Station,